Hi, I'm Jimmy Noble with the Noble Group, and today we're going to go over the process of presenting offers. And I must say, this is one of the hardest videos I've ever made, and it's hard because I find myself straying as I'm explaining the process. I find myself straying into the portion where I want to talk to you about negotiation, and negotiation strategies are something that are kind of secret, held tight. You obviously don't want the other side knowing, knowing your strategy. So I've had to remake this video about 3 times so far, so that I don't get into negotiation strategies. Here's what we are going to do. We are going to go over the mechanics behind the deal. So it's going to be a much more condensed, less strategic video, but more about the process, X, Y, and Z. So first things first, the offer is going to come in. Nobody really uses fax machines anymore, so it's probably going to be scanned, and it's going to come to us by way of email. That offer is going to be anywhere between 45 and around 65 pages or so. What does it mean? What is in there? There's generally 10 pages of the contract, and then another 45, 55 pages of addenda. Addenda can be anything from buyers asking for subsidies, closing help, recordation and transfer, tax splitting, buyer pay all, seller pay all, HOA documents, condo documents, easements, inspections, you name it. That's what all the addenda are. The contract is gonna state, that first 10 pages is gonna state what addenda are included in the contract. It's going to have settlement date, it's going to have price, it's going to have earnest money deposits, and it's going to say whether there are going to be inspections or not. So the main body is that first 10 pages, and then all the addenda, that's kind of the nuts and bolts that hold it all together and explain it a little bit more. So when an offer does come in, there are only 3 things that can happen, and this is where I get tied up and I stray into the negotiations portion, which I can't do. You can accept an offer, you can reject an offer, or you can counter an offer. Those are the only 3 possibilities for what can happen when an offer comes in. Now, mind you, I am not allowed to make the determination on whether an offer is good enough to present to you or not. The law says that if an offer comes into me, I must present it to you. So the first thing that we're going to do before we present any offer is we're going to put together a net sheet. And that net sheet is similar to the HUD statement that you're going to sign, and get a little ahead of myself. The HUD statement is what you get at the settlement table. It's the official document where all the numbers are disclosed to everyone, and it gives you your bottom line, the cash to seller. What are you going to make? We prepare a form similar to that. It's called a seller net sheet, and it's basically going to have all the terms of the contract written out. And you can see, with commissions, subsidies, home warranty, if there was a home warranty included. It's going to show you what your bottom line number is. What are you going to make on the deal? So when we get it in, we're going to check and make sure the buyer is a strong buyer. And we're going to compose our negotiation strategy and prepare to present to you. Or we're going to figure out our negotiation strategy to negotiate the deal with the buyer. We're going to present all of this information to you with that net sheet attached. So those 3 things that can happen. If the offer is accepted, that means everything on the offer, everything that we go over, it looks good to go. So if you were to choose to sign off on everything, now mind you, I'm calling it an offer because it's not yet a contract. If you sign off on everything in that offer that's given to you, presented to you by us, if everything is signed, and we send it back to that buyer, you are then at that point under contract. The other option is to reject the offer. I'm not going into any strategies here, so if you reject the offer, it goes back to the buyer. Now, if you counter the offer, which counters happen most of the time, let's play out a scenario. If the buyer asks to settle on the 20th of the month, and you counter back and ask for the 19th or the 21st, any change to the buyer's offer is a counter back to them. Then they have to make the choice to accept, reject, or counter what was posed to them. So it's accept, reject, or counter until everyone comes to agreement, and at that point there is a contract. Now the contract is going to spell out every date, every time, essentially every piece of every every part of the transaction from that point forward is known by the terms in the contract once it's all signed. So there at that point there are no surprises. You know what's going to happen next. You know when it's going to happen next. It's a timeline. It's a roadmap to get to settlement. So we follow the terms of that 45 to 65 page contract and get you to settlement. We're here along the way to answer any questions that you have about the process. These videos, you're going to see some more of them coming out about the appraisal process, about the home inspection process, so that we can kind of break down and micro these different parts of the complex transaction so that you're dealing with only one at a time. Remember, we're here to answer all of your questions. We're here to make sure you feel comfortable in regards to moving forward with an offer turning into a contract and the process that will occur. So if you have any questions, give us a call at 1-888-205-7773, or you can visit us on thenoblegroup.org. Thanks so much. Have a great day.